Welcome to another episode of Lost in the Script TV. 229 mission slips. Oh man. Finally getting some moving forward in the music industry with some storylines that developed over the last 24 hours. And I thought we would move past some of these storylines by this point, but no, none of it's going anywhere. Hopefully everybody is good out there. Hopefully as stress-free as possible. As always, you had a stress-free weeks, 2 weeks at least. I'm probably going to be doing this every other week thing for a little while. Then I'll get back on track at some point to every week, but that's besides the point. We're going to get right into it with some updated stories. Kevin Hart decided to come out and defend himself from some of the backlash he got for the roast. And some people kind of moved on, obviously. Some people thought it was a nothing burger, but others, a lot of coon words being thrown out, a lot of boot licking and whitewashed being called out. But hold on. So, and I said it about Kevin Hart before, with Cat Williams, in Hollywood, no matter how big you get, your base matters. And 99% of the time, your base must look like you. No matter how high you get, no matter how many fans and supporters you get from other ethnic groups or races or people from other countries, nationalities, your base matters. It is the proof that you will always have a standing army. The second you start getting heavily critiqued by them, you got to clear things up immediately. Get to it. Hold on, y'all. Gonna get to it. And make sure everything is working correctly. All right, we good. Get right into it. Let's see. Kevin Hart addresses backlash to Tony's roast joke. Stop talking as if I said it. So I put the short up earlier this week when he went on the Breakfast Club to defend himself from a lot of the backlash he was getting from people. Where, people was on his ass about some of the jokes. A lot of people, particularly people like Dr. Umar, for instance, spoke on it. A few other people that felt like this roast was most of these roasting sessions with these comedians typically do cross it usually reaches that line, that borderline, offensive line that people have, but you usually let it go because that's the point of a roast. You're supposed to say the most offensive thing possible. That's the point. I remember watching roast on Comedy Central all the way back, in the early mid 2000s. As a kid, and you're supposed to say stuff inappropriate, dark jokes and all this type of stuff. This time I can't lie, maybe because the political environment is we see it as so different now. People thought some of the jokes was a little, it was like a little bit more get back to it. I saw a lot of people bringing up the Charlie Kirk situation and a lot of the jokes that was placed on him and his demise, that some of the people that have audiences that are kind of the same people that were offended by the Charlie Kirk situation and how people responded online. A lot of these comedians, such as Tony, some of his audience is those people that were offended. So some people think maybe he went out of his way to say certain jokes about George Floyd and stuff. Even I think some of them actually had Charlie Kirk jokes as well. But they felt like some of these jokes may have been purposely to appease that audience. Whether you believe it or not, it is what it is. Kevin Hart addressing the backlash to jokes made in Netflix's roast of Kevin Hart, particularly those made by Tony. During the roast earlier this month, he took jabs at many of the guests, including Hart, but he faced criticism for a joke referencing George Floyd, who was murdered by the police in 2020. The Black community is so proud of you. He said to Hart, right now George Floyd is looking up at us or he can't breathe. On Tuesday, Hart appeared on the Breakfast Club where he shared his thoughts on the backlash. Let me play some of them. Probably not gonna play the whole thing, but yeah, let me just speed it up. Hold on, That's another one that was kind of crazy. How often they mentioned Cheryl's. They mentioned her husband and his suicide back in the day. She got a lot of that. She actually went on another platform. I can't remember what show it was, and she addressed. Oh, she went on the show with what's his name, Shane Gillis, another one of these people that have one of those edgy right-wing, considered right-wing audiences that that people be really angered with. And she went on that podcast and addressed the jokes towards her husband and how she, it kind of got you a little bit, but and then at the end of the day, it's calm. I gotta rewind for a second. This woman's face here, her face is definitely. She got one of those faces she's making right now. What's her name? Lauren on the Breakfast Club, where she got one of those faces where your ass is on. You know they're on your ass, right? And looking at the conversation around this, it made me think of rest in peace to Patrice O'Neal. Patrice O'Neal was one of those people that he's had the same talking point that you're hearing Kevin Hart say, which is what a lot of comedians say, which is, I, as a comedian, should always have the clear to attempt a joke. I remember when he went on a news show to defend Don Imus when he had the nappy-headed hoes comment. And I think he had a debate with, I think it was Mark Lamont Hill, if I'm not mistaken. Funny enough. And he went on this whole thing where he was just basically saying, they have to have the right to make the joke because I'm going to make my jokes. I say in this era in 2026, I see a lot of people, some people every little bit of while when people start mentioning comedians or forgotten comedians or underrated comedians, they bring up Patrice O'Neal. I'm like, man, in 2026, there's a lot of people that would call Patrice O'Neal a coon, a tap dancer, ass kisser. He would not have as much praise as some people think. I remember I listened to all his appearances when he used to go on the radio show in New York, Opie and Anthony, and particularly particularly Anthony. That I forgot what he is. I think he's like Italian or something. Extremely racist. But Patrice would sit across from him on that radio show and have entire race dialogues and jokes and racial jokes. And his whole point was, I want you to be able to say it. One, so I know how you really feel, because I don't want you walking on eggshells and lying to my face. I want you to show that you're racist. And then I'm going to say something that you might deem offensive. And you're going to have to take that because you did it too. And I'm funnier than you. So mine is going to be better. So it was his idea of trying to be fair. I didn't watch this Rose because whatever, but seeing the reaction around some of it, like I said, a lot of people may have moved on from it. Who cares? But at least the people that Kevin Hart cares about, as far as his base, they care enough where he has to continue to address this. I noticed too, people kind of forgot about that other story that was linked, that was around a little bit. Bloomberg reported that he was having some financial problems with his production company. And then what was it? Essence. Somebody wrote an article on Essence. It was deleted, and allegedly that person who wrote that article covering the story was fired. So,
watch it.
So, yeah. Like I said, I use the court jester, the person who's allowed to make fun of the king. This idea that comedians typically are allowed to say jokes on things because the good ones, at least the ones who are great, are able to make you view things through a different lens. Even something you completely disagree with it, they're able to make a person on one side see the point of view on the other side, and vice versa. That's a sign of a great comedian, which is why a lot of comedians go from making, as I said about Dave Chappelle, go from making fart jokes and then they turn into damn near philosophers almost. They're talking about politics and society at large and certain social constructs. But Kevin, man, rumors bubbling around him. A lot of these celebrities are being accused of being popped, pretty much being broke. Many people are accusing them of not being as well as they said they were, and it always bring me back to that quote by Gabrielle Union during the pandemic, when she said most actors, regardless of who you think they are literally movie to movie or show check to check, because it's not. So the people you think worth hundreds of years ago, Kevin Hart, and maybe it still is, I'm not saying the rumor is true, Kevin Hart was considered damn near a billionaire a couple of years by him, like he really getting to it. And just one story can completely shift people's perception of you. Crazy, right? What else? A part of this too, I'm not gonna go to this. Stephen A. Smith, once again, he wasn't made a part of this, so he didn't enter himself into this. Kevin Hart had a joke about Stephen A. Smith being one of the 4 people he deemed to just hate black people. Whether you think that was a joke or not is up to your interpretation of it or what you think. Smith pretty much went on his show and said, kind of hurt that it's Kevin Hart. I don't know if it's a joke or not, but the fact that it's him is kind of hurtful. And then he immediately went into, once again, teasing the idea of him doing something politically in the future, which we know he's been setting up a couple of years now, especially with his political attacks, especially with his attacks on somebody like LeBron, who is a lightning rod for hate from especially the right wingers. Don't have to go too much into it. It's just, once again, Stephen A. I think Stephen A. Smith don't understand that when it comes to politics, at least in my opinion, because this society ain't really serious no more. So who knows? Trump made it into office. I wouldn't be surprised if more of those end up making it in. But I just think Stephen A. don't understand. I don't think he'll ever be taken serious. Being a journalist, even though Jason Whitlock said he's lying, being a sports journalist turned sports commentator on a TV show host, being a colorful personality, it's kind of hard for people to take you serious on taxation and certain social beliefs when it comes to politics. I don't think you'll ever be taken that serious. No matter how much you try to come off as somebody right down the middle, independent thinker, somebody who got real solutions to everybody's problems. I think at the end of the day, people don't like people that's right down the middle. I think you won't see anybody get put into office who calls themselves a moderate. We're in a time of extremes, so you have to pick a side now. Everything that exists right now, you must pick a side. You're no longer allowed to have any nuance for the most part and be able to garner the most support. That used to be what you needed. To be in the middle means that's where most people are, which is the middle. That's where you gain the most support. But we're no longer in those days, so I don't think his strategy is benefit him. Next up, let's get to this right here. This pissed a lot of people off too. I don't have the picture. I'm not even gonna bother showing it. Hold on. All right. So I talked about it. Rapper Drake released his album 2 weeks ago now. He was able to break Michael Jackson's most number ones for a male artist record with 14. Mike had 13. He beat it with that song, what's the name of it? Janice, something like that. Janice, Shut the Fuck Up. He beat him with that song. As you hear, a complex, Drake shares image of Michael Jackson after passing him for most number one songs by male artists. Drake has amassed more solo male artist number ones in the Billboard Hot 100 than Michael Jackson. He also passed Jay-Z for the most number one albums. I think that one is 15. I think that one is 15, 14, maybe 12. I can't remember. He passed Jay-Z as well. Now, this is funny to me because when he did this, he got a lot of, Drake got a lot of haters, a lot of people that just will never like him. And it's probably mostly because of how he carried himself since forever. You could tell he had that chip on his shoulder, the not accepted, biracial Jewish dude from Canada doing hip hop, becoming the biggest pop rap act, probably you could say ever. Well, pop rap act, definitely the biggest ever. And kind of leveraging his pop audience and budget to other hip hop acts across the years, particularly throughout Atlanta. Like, I'm going to give Future, I'm going to give Lil Baby, I'm going to give 21 Savage access to the pop budget that I got, and they'll give me cultural currency with that. That's kind of been most of Drake's career. He was called, to me, I always look at Drake as pretty much baby Jay-Z. He moved career-wise exactly like Jay-Z to me, except he just was more pop than Jay-Z was. Even though Jay-Z definitely did try to do a lot of crossover stuff, particularly when he started doing stuff with Beyonce and stuff. But yeah, anyway, so he break the record. People on his ass, not really celebratory of it, not really celebrating him. See a lot of people trying to talk about during Halloween, they want to try to push the song Thriller number one. Didn't know, by the way, that Michael Jackson's Thriller never went number one. That it was actually Billie Jean and the other song that ended up going number one. And he didn't video for Thriller until a year after the album. It just shows how different the music industry is, how an album would release, and it wasn't just a one day, think about it for a week or two type thing. It was over years. You released multiple singles. You would release singles after the album, videos after the album. It became an entire era, as they call. So many people try to do this whole thing where they release the album and it becomes their whole personality for a few years. That was the norm back in the day. Like, you didn't put out an album and every single song got a chance to be placed on the charts. Like, it was no, only singles are allowed to chart as singles. So it's just a totally different industry. It is what it is. But out of all that stuff he did, calling out stuff in the background, calling out people's names on the songs, dissing them, I want to show this quick because it just made me think of something. In the midst of the discussions around Drake and streaming and how much can you weigh and compare it to physical sales, I saw this ad by Spotify with Yachty. Let me play it.
Man, I really need a playlist right now. Super chill, quiet, slow tempo, Japanese ambient, make psychedelic rock for when things get interesting. I guess we should probably make it a few hours long. Seems like we're gonna be here a while.
Spotify, I saw this ad about prompt playlists, where basically you type in specific vibes you want to feel from certain music, and it crafts entire playlist for you. Into the discussion people was having about modern music consumption being about algorithm based, pretty much things being placed in front of you for you to listen to it. Like, we don't really see people talk about going on Spotify or Apple or one of these platforms and just going to the new music section and just scrolling through and clicking new music from people you don't know and finding music they might like. That don't really happen as much as it did back in the day, where people would go to a store and go through CDs, or even older back day when they would go to record players, go through records and go through these vinyls and find new music to hit new sounds. At this point, you only hear a song if something on the algorithm put it in front of you, whether you're on X, TikTok, somebody got it playing in the background. Same thing with Instagram. You rarely get recommended low views, new music songs on like YouTube, for instance. Every once in a while, you be scrolling on YouTube and you'll see a song by some small creator that got 30 views that was released the same day. That don't happen as often as you getting recommended songs by these big artists that already have a budget and it's been placed in front of you like this. You need to listen to this. And that kind of went into the discussion around Drake, obviously, where those type of artists, not just him, their music is placed in front of you. So a lot of the so-called listens that they get per month, is it really somebody who sought to listen to it, or were you placed in a playlist? I listened to it for 30 seconds before I changed the song. If I did change the song, and now that counts as a listen in a monthly listener, and that counts towards your sales, or at least your charting position. It's just not a real thing. You would think since 2024 that people would understand that charts aren't real. Like, I remember growing up, I never heard, in my little small town in North Carolina, I never heard someone say about charting position, what's number one. I heard it. The only time we ever heard somebody talk about number ones was in the song. They said, I got a number one records or whatever. And then you get older and you're online now on social media, and then you go back and look at those songs and see where they charted, and most of them barely charted in the top 50. Most of them didn't even chart, some of them. But I know when I was outside as a teenager or as a kid in high school, that some of these songs that didn't chart, when I walk around, I was riding around with my peoples, the songs out of these cars, the songs being played on the radios, the songs being played in people's headphones was a song that wasn't charting. That's when you realize that the internet and the charts in the real world don't really match up sometimes, because demographics. Basically, if your song is on the charts for hip hop artists, it's because a lot of white people listen to it. That's pretty much it. Some songs are regional, I understand, but for the most part, That's already the chart really mean. White people are listening to your music. Which gets me to this next point. Jay-Z. Jay-Z had the Roots Picnic performance yesterday. Now, I'm not the biggest Jay-Z person. I've listened to, I went back and listened to some of his albums because you hear people say he's just this greatest wordsmith and all that stuff. And I went back and it was all right to me. I may have poor taste to some people. That's okay. But at this picnic, after all these years of people constantly talking about him on songs and on social media, he responded to people with a freestyle. Now, Jay-Z, the last time we heard from him was when he did an interview with GQ where he talked about how he doesn't know if rap beefs are something that should exist in hip hop anymore. How I think he basically was saying he believes we've outgrown that. The same way you don't see people b-boying no more or tagging no more, and things have just kind of been pushed away from hip hop as it's gotten more corporate, that he believes the same should probably be done with diss records. I said then there's only two reasons he would be saying that. One, he's selling out because he wants to retain some level of influence and gatekeeping in hip hop by letting it be even more corporate than it already is, which is it's already corporate. He gets to keep some level of control and gatekeeping influence. Or two, he's selling out in order to what he think is save the genre. We know now that with hip hop, they're not getting as big of budgets and not getting pushed as much. We see the charts, it's full of a bunch of country music at this point, all on the radio. We know that the Billboard charts decided to focus more on radio played and streaming. They no longer count YouTube. All of this, they did a lot of shifting to get what they want on the charts, which is country music. This is clearly a lot of Trump influence with that and what's been going on the last decade at this point. But obviously, hypocrisy exists. He got on stage at the Roots Picnic and decided to diss. I'm going to play some of this right here.
Hattie's turning 100.
And before I start, I got to say, I find it funny. People were saying that he backstabbed Kaepernick and then stole his afro. I see people saying that they think he had a wig on because he had the wick dreads. He combed them out to a fro. A lot of jokes going around that was funny. I did see it kind of creep into this weird energy where people acting like black people hair don't do this type of stuff all the time. I know plenty of people that have combed their dreads out, but that's besides the point. Let me play it.
If she would have transitioned before I cleared my name, I would have hunted them. Every one of them playing these silly games. That 1-800 ambulance chaser would have wished one came. But 911 is a joke. Public enemy #1, I've been ranked. The rock's not crumbling. The leprechauns have magically run out of pranks. Your son on a federal jail line mumbling something about having too much in his drink.
So obviously that was a shot at the lawyer, Busby, and Tory Lanez, the leprechaun.
You know how dumb that is? Another one fumbled his, wonder how I get the blame. Niggas' teeth is tumbling out their mouth and somehow I'm the one who done it. It's a murder mystery game.
That's clearly Dame Dash.
You had to cash cow and thunk it. Was you who pumped this? I'm the one who struck the pain. That hill you can die on. It's way too much flat that comes from those pains. I'm killing them softly. What's understood don't need to be explained.
Lauryn Hill little scheme.
You want it one way, it's the other.
Marlo.
I still on you suckers, I maul you niggas gang. I ain't much for me, it's no how. Cancel the brunches, I remember the hunger pain.
That's the Marlo from The Wire scheme. The scene where he's dressed in the suit and he goes to the block. This is who he is. No matter how much he tried to go corporate, he was the person that always wanted to just take more corners. So that's a pretty okay scheme right there, comparing himself to Marlo.
The price of the bricks going up. It's gonna cost you a beat to even say my name. Heard of a wonder king? My children and some of them. Have you?
This is the Kanye diss.
There's no shame. You're trying to get under skin. I really get under skin as unharmed player.
Now I'm just get to the point here. Hold on.
Everybody think they're the ones insane. You're no maniac. Watch how saniac in my presence, nigga, shrink. I need a new therapist. This shit is not working. I'm truly on the brink.
A therapist scheme.
I better not encourage him. Y'all don't want me to think these thoughts that I think. That nut-ass nigga still stuttering.
Let me just jump to the part I want to get to.
Well, I don't know why I still fuck with him.
Oh, right here.
Quest introducing me to Jaguar. I don't know why I still fuck with him.
Now, I'm going to get through this. The Jaguar mention was funny. Jaguar popped up. She's been around for obviously decades, but she popped up and got really, really viral after an interview on that real life, I guess you call it podcast interview, where she obviously went at Jay-Z, called him, you know, everything he's been accused of. And she got a Medal of Honor or bravery or something from the Trump at Mar-a-Lago. I always thought that part was strange. And since that moment, I don't think I've seen her as much. I haven't seen her as much, Jaguar, in the last, well, you can say since Jay-Z sued Busby, Jaguar kind of got low. Once again, I'm not the biggest Jay person. What up, Craig? He said, I ain't gonna lie, this kind of tough. I said it too. I'm not the biggest Jay guy, but and we know what freestyle means at this point. It's not necessarily means you just saying something completely out the dome. It could just mean you have some ideas, you craft them a little bit, and then you get on stage and you kind of just free form them or whatever. This is a good response. If I'm about to go, if the plan is I'm gonna do this Roots Picnic show, I'm gonna do my MSG show in a couple in next month, and then I'm planning on dropping an album later this year. I'm starting it with this. Because remember, after the Busby situation, he said out his mouth, or this in the interview, should I say, it's time for offense. This is just, yeah. So this was a good response to everybody. The person who got it the worst was two people. Kanye, kinda. I'll say, actually, no. Nicki and Drake got it the worst. I'm going to play a little bit more of this. But the Jaguar thing, him mentioning her name is kind of funny. That means he don't deem her as much of a threat as people thought.
You wonder why I do the that lady back on the stuff, she sound like she in love with him. Her kid can't even take their kids. Enough of them.
That's clearly Nicki Minaj. Hey man, be careful who you attach yourself with for the rest of your life, because it can make life very hard for you when it comes to, especially hip hop. It's like battle rap. If you could do something, and you could have done something in 2015 that was embarrassing. And battle rap, if you on URL or Red Breed Entertainment or any of those platforms, that it's gonna be brought up every single battle for the next decade. You can't get away from it. So be careful, man.
A rapper can't be my eye. I got MAGA Republicans. Them shots came from the very top of the government. Good luck with them. I'm governed by God. You trying to break the government. I rain for 40 days. My neck get flooded again. Wrist get flooded again. My net worth went up again.
This is clearly going to be the shot towards Drake.
My next update, the jig is up. I'm up 10. Wrong chart, champ. You gotta look up again. Niggas look up the Hove. I never looked up to them. Got your publishing gangster. Go talk tough to them. Don't talk success to me. You niggas is workers. In perpetuity is how your contract is worded. Don't make me go man.
That was the person who got it, who got what he wanted the most. Drake and Kanye. I don't know if this one got Kanye's in. Hold on.
Remember, even when the trees pretend, not too much of my name.
Yeah, that pretty much was it. So, you know, the Kanye, you being fake crazy, you're not really crazy. Drake, nigga, I'm up a B, you not. Nicki Minaj, you just can't take your father, your kids, can't take them to, you know, the park. Dame Dash, your teeth falling out. Oshino, I think that's his name. He a stuttering buffoon, whatever he called him. As a quick freestyle response, not bad. Question is it hypocritical? If you don't think diss tracks are something that should exist anymore, but then you get on stage and you send shots, obviously not a diss track, but you send shots to other rappers. I don't know. Maybe you're saying you don't want rappers to get on a song and, you know, try to make a hit record off of diss tracks anymore. Maybe that's it. Maybe sending, you know, small shots on your records, as Jay-Z has done since the Nas situation, which I said in the last video when I talked about this with the GQ interview. He's been consistent since the Nas battle he has not done any real back and forth. He just sends shots on his albums, which is him being consistent. Hey, we don't need diss tracks. We could do slight shots and then do some collaborative stuff. Regardless if you agree with it, he has been consistent. To me, this is okay. It is what it is. But I did a lot of the, particularly the fan, you know, going crazy because they said he is, even though them bar fans are some of the they do things, man. Hey, they go in for their queen, as they call her. Then I saw the Drake fans consistently make this man once again the victim. Once again, Jay-Z to me is he's a good rapper. Obviously, he's a great rapper. He's just not my cup of tea. Drake, cup of tea. I like some songs from both of them, but the way infantilized by his art, where he can get on his last album and have all shots to multiple rappers, and then when one of those rappers and the other people he shot at show a little rap to that person, all of a sudden it's 20v1, y'all hanging up on him, and it's like, but he's not shooting at one person per album. He's shooting at a bunch of people at the same time, and they just, I don't know. Yeah, he keeps doing the same thing. Result ends the same way, and say he's being bullied. He's not giving a fair shot. It's a lose-lose situation. I just don't understand. If you're not ready to do something, don't do it. And this next clip I'm about to show, which is why I don't debate. I used to be a big debater online, like that years ago, a decade plus ago. I used to get online and debate sport, all type of stuff. And then I came to the conclusion you're not going to ever change anybody's mind, so you're wasting your time. So I don't debate no more. I just give my opinion, move on. But these are the people you're debating with in 2026. Let me show this little clip here. Kind of crazy.
Read the index card.
The dog.
So they're going around asking people to read an index card with a sentence on it. So they're walking around asking people to read. Different races, ages, backgrounds. They're just asking people to read a sentence. The amount of people that are struggling to read most basic sentences is crazy. This reminded me of how my age group, how we lost the true ability to really to write and read cursive writing. Like, I'll be dead serious with you. When I see somebody who's like in a 40s, 50s, 60s who write in cursive, I grew up in, we literally in my school did not learn to read cursive writing, like real cursive, not the just going on your own how you think it look. Real cursive writing. The same way we lost that skill as time went on and people started getting on the computer and write more analog. There are some people, and Travis gave this point, how when you're on your phone, because we're on our phone so much, and when you text something or type something in, because you're on these smartphones, it autofills what you're about to say. Not even if you misspell it. Like when you're typing it out, as you're typing it, it automatically just putting the word for you. You're losing the ability to proper spell because you're not actually having to spell words out completely. If it's the simplest word that you know how to spell, you almost forget how to spell it because you ain't had to spell it in months, years maybe, because it just fills up for you. And then you get to reading, people listen to stuff more than they read. So the dumbing down of society is so crazy to me. And then you have this level of literacy and comprehension. It's no point.
Unwatering loyalty. I don't know that word. Not even lie. A lot of big words.
She can't read the word unreciprocated independency. Unreciprocated, I'm sorry. She got the other one.
Emotional dependency. Sorry. What's funny?
Nothing. You're doing good.
Okay, I guess. Everybody ain't on a good reading level. I damn sure not.
All right. Read the index.
This one here, that was a black woman that read the first one. Now this is a Caucasian man.
Card.
The animals, yeah, bring closer. I can't read. President, affection, reflected and deeply ingrained development, the viral resilience.
He said the word is behavioral. The animal's persistent affection reflected a deeply ingrained behavioral reliance. These are the people that are online debating, giving opinion on things. And this man here is, I'm pretty sure he's in his mid to late 30s, maybe 40s. And so it ain't necessarily a younger generation. It is when I see these videos and they pop up a lot at this point. Now I'm pretty sure, I'm hoping at least. I'm hoping that some of these videos are fake and staged to just get viewership, because a lot of stuff on the internet is fake. But my fear is it's not staged and it is real. And you do have adults walking around reading at the 4th grade level or less than the 4th grade level. And I seen all them jokes. I saw people online talking about people in the South and their reading ability historically. And then I saw another person point out that places like, for instance, Alabama is now the youth in Alabama is some of the highest scored readers in the country. So I wonder if there's going to be some type of flip in education level between the South and certain other regions, but we'll see. It wouldn't benefit, but luck it might happen. Obviously, there's a few other situations that they read some stuff and they couldn't read it. Hopefully it's fake, but if it's not, America is really on its last legs, man. It's really bad. It's really bad. Oh, man. All right. Moving on. Speaking of media literacy, a lot of people got called dumb and stupid for not liking some of these movies. Let me show this. Then you find out they're the ones that don't understand. Hold on. How let me start by saying I have not watched that movie Is God Is yet. When it was first announced with a trailer, I said I was interested in watching it simply because of the stellar burned their mother alive, and they were getting burned as well. He just left them and abandoned them after trying to kill their mother. The mother of them to go kill their father in revenge. That's pretty much the movie. Oh, we choppy. Hold on. Let me know if we good. But yeah, so it's a film about the children, 2 daughters, going to get revenge against their father. The one critique I had just off is the father just an evil person, or is he going to have some type of backstory explaining why he did an evil thing? We're no longer, all right, we good. We should no longer be in the era of just having an evil character be evil just to be evil, unless you want your movie to be cartoony, which this movie might be. It might just be a movie they wanted to just have quote unquote fun with. But over the last 20 years, you've seen the most popular villains are people who are quote unquote relatable or have a gripe that people can see that side of it. When you talk about the dude from what's his name? Thanos. When you talk about Joker, a lot of those, young white men can have some type of relatability to him, especially that Joker movie with Phoenix. The second one didn't do as well, but yeah, they actually pointed out in the second film that he is a loser and you should not get behind him. And a few other people. I wanted to know, would they give Sterling K. Brown's character just some type of something, make it where you show that he went through some type of trauma, and maybe he was an abusive person because he had a problem with abandonment and he saw his mother and father get a divorce and and it led to something. And now his wife is asking for a divorce and he has this trauma that we don't know about and he reacts violently, like something. I'm not saying it needs to be something that makes it okay what he did, but gives a reason, even a bad reason, like something. You just have him do something. And once again, I haven't watched it yet, so I don't know. Just have him do something evil just to have him do it, just so you can have a story of revenge. I just don't think that's a good idea. Craig said keeping the gender war alive is big business. And that's exactly what I'm about to get to. when I saw the critiques, once again, I haven't watched it, so I didn't hold no weight to it. Just saw people saying they didn't like it or that they loved it and kept it moving. But then I saw certain dudes giving real, I don't want to say political, but they were being more academic with it. They was talking about it from a perspective of politics and academia. Like, hey man, this kind of story isn't good. This kind of remind me a lot of Color Purple. How this movie is just making somebody evil just to be bad and kind of painting black men as this villain boogeyman. Yada yada yada. And then the women came out and said, yeah, femicide is a problem. And I immediately said, no. Why did you jump on? You should have ignored the critiques. Why would you jump and agree that the movie is about black men and this idea, at this point, because we see the numbers don't say that this is what it is, this black female femicide that exists in the black community. Why did you say that this movie is symbolic for that? You shouldn't have done that. Now you've made it political. So now it's impossible for me not to see it that way now because you said it is that way. So these are the people in the movie. Once again, Sterling K. Brown. I knew when I saw Janelle Monáe in it that it was possible there was some BS in it. Vivica A. Fox, Erica Alexander, I fuck with her. Shout out to her. Malachi, I fuck with him. But then I saw this here. Sterling K. Brown, he had this to say about the movie. He said, hold on. He said, Sterling K. Brown talks about why he chose to be part of the film. He said, so there's this macro and micro. I love black women. I love seeing black women win, right? I thought this was incredibly creative script, something different and new. And I think that we as a community have been asking for creative and new stories, right? And I feel like there's more diverse. I feel like the more diverse the landscape of stories are that we get to tell, the more people will stop putting us in a box in terms of what black movie is, what a black story is. We are everything. And so the opportunity to do something is something that the opportunity to do everything is something that excites me. Alicia, the person who wrote the play, then she adapted the play, and then she directed the play. I think she did so brilliantly. I also love the idea that black women get the chance to be messy in this film, like hella messy. I feel like oftentimes we're asked in many stories to be voices of reason, sort of the sensible side component of a larger story, and that's not the case in this. This is exciting to me. Now, Sterling K. Brown, when I saw this, I immediately knew, this tells me that he knows there's some stuff in this movie when he said that messy comment that is controversial, maybe. At least a theme could be controversial. And he's just trying to say, hey, I want to support black women being creative. And then this guy, Touré, I think that's his name. He went and did some background on the writer of the play, of the script, trying, I guess, get a gauge of why she wrote it, what's her mindset, what is her beliefs, and all that type of stuff. And he brought something very important out. It just is. I'm sorry. It just can't be really ignored. He said this woman wrote this thing because hella messy, oh Lord. He said this woman wrote this thing because she was upset that black men were, in her mind, getting more attention for being killed by police than Breonna Taylor. When I saw this and read this, it was just like, no way. No way. This is no way you found a way to make black men the villain in your own mind at the sight of seeing another black man get killed and it, quote unquote, getting attention and a reaction from people. A conversation with Is God Is playwright Alicia Harris. This is from 2020. She said, they are the reason that I write things like Is God Is. I'm reluctant to call this work timely or say that it answers anything. It is saying that the thing that's been said. Many of us have been banging our heads against the wall for years. Here's a vehicle. Here's the work that channels a lot of rage and that sadness and that work that has everything to do with misogynoir. It has everything to do with being angry that Breonna Taylor isn't on people's minds the way she ought to be. It has everything to do with understanding that the news cycle is going to forget about her and that it took the death of men, even in death, black women are erased. So these things have been upsetting forever as a black woman. Now, I don't know how old she was when she said this. So, and that does matter, I believe. clearly she was captured by certain brainwashing early in her life. To to treat the death of black men as an actual gain for black men is crazy. That's just insane. To think that a black man dying, quote unquote, overshadowing a black woman's dying, which it didn't, by the way, is erasing them. And this same thing happened. I remember when this discussion was happening in real time in 2020, when you did have a lot of people on that side of thinking saying, we're not talking about Breonna Taylor enough. We should be talking about her more. We should talk about the women in general killed more. And it's like, no, we should talk about all of them. But also, if on average, if you talk about the ratio, not the exact number, if 100 black men a year are killed by police unarmed, and it happens to black women 20 times, it's not to say it makes it any better, but there's a reason why you're going to talk about one more, because it literally just happens more frequently. So it's just going to be in the headlines more. What are we talking about? But that's not all that this ended up leading to. Obviously, this same dude, when it found out that she's married, or at least dating, a Caucasian man. So, not really surprising. Hold on. All right. Let me get back. This is him. So when I saw this, along with what I saw her comments on the 2020 Breonna Taylor thing, it made more sense that this movie is even getting backing, which goes back to Craig said about gender war is big business. These people can't get much funding until they do a movie like this. Funding from. Hold on, let me show this. This is where she got her funding from to do this movie. Hold on. This is her funding. Scott Rudin and Amy Pascal apologized after racially insensitive emails about Obama leak. Sony Head apologizes after racially insensitive emails about Obama leak. Sony co-chairman Amy Pascal and producer Scott Rudin have apologized after racially insensitive emails that sent to each other leaking online as part of a massive hack of Sony Pictures. The content of the emails were insensitive and inappropriate, but are not an accurate reflection of who I am, Pascal said in a statement provided to Huffington Post. Although this was a private communication that was stolen, I accept full responsibility for what I wrote and apologize to everyone who was offended. In the emails published by BuzzFeed, Pascal and Rubin discussed what movies President Barack Obama would probably count among his favorites. Ride Along, Rudin wrote. I bet he likes Kevin Hart. Other films with black casts that Pascal and Rudin presume Obama would enjoy include Django Unchained, 12 Years a Slave, Lee Daniels, The Butler, and Think Like a Man 2. So basically, she got funding from a man who was exposed as you can consider those comments at least racially, racial at least. But he probably is this racist man who just so happened to fund a movie demonizing black fatherhood. What a surprise, right? But that's not it. There's another person that was involved. I hope I got this saved to the tab. I'm pretty sure I should have it. No, I don't. The dude who if y'all remember, there was a play that was getting discussed a few years ago called, I think it's called Slave Play. I think it was called Slave Play. A gay black dude wrote it. I think it's Caribbean, where he basically was romanticizing and making slavery more dramatic and romanticizing it. You can look it up. We talked about it before on here. He's the one who helped with her directing the movie, or at least helped her with working on this movie. So a gay Caribbean man helped you work on this, who wrote a slave play, slave play, and a racist executive helped fund it. Like this, and when you say that there's some type of a system that is created, that has been created, that is clearly funding certain messaging, you call it a tinfoil hat, conspiracy theorist. You're doing too much. It's not that serious. These are stories that black women want to tell, but it's like, how is it 90% of the stories you want to tell have a message that's similar? Like, how does that keep happening? At some point, it's either one or two things. I understand when I heard this woman, when she spoke about the whole Breonna Taylor and feeling like she's been erased and the anger she felt, how this movie, or at least when she wrote this play, she was expressing a sense of rage and anger. I've known for a long time that unfortunately, there's a lot of Black women who hold extreme, or at least some resentment and contempt for Black men. And that has led to how the media that they consume to express itself the exact way. And at this point, I don't know how it changes. You have an entire political class of Black women who have completely bought into this and completely been pacified. I've talked about counterinsurgency a lot the last 6 months because it's something that's clearly, it's so prevalent and in your face. Like, this is pacification. You've convinced an entire generation of women to see the men of their race as villains, the bad guys, the boogeyman, the true people that are holding us back. And if we can just get away from them, or if we can socially reimagine them, we might be able to get somewhere. It's pretty toxic. It's a cancer, actually. And it's affected every level of media in the Black community, whether it's movies, television shows, the music we listen to. The most popular song that, at least I'm being told, one of the most popular rap songs right now is a song by, what's her name? Young Miami. Spend It. And then it's funny too, side note, I don't know if y'all know it or not, but Diddy's one of his freak off takes leaked. Diddy out here with 50 Cent baby mama dealing with porn stars. It's crazy. all that stuff we seen 50 Cent do the last couple years, after seeing some of that, you realize, oh, nigga, you just hurt. He turned your baby mama into a live-in porn star maker. Like all he do is use these women to make live porn for him. Now that shit is on the internet forever. Your baby mama on the internet in a freak off tape. I don't think there's nothing 50 can say. Just move on, leave Diddy alone. Because another person that I know is scared right now is Cassie. And a quick theory on that, by the way. Diddy is supposed to get out in the next year or two, right? If I'm not mistaken. If I start, and I'm not saying it's him, but if certain things start leaking from those freak offs, showing that I wasn't forcing nobody to do nothing, showing that it was that these people and these women in particular were willing participants. If another 3, 4, 5 of these leak, and it includes all the women that accused me of something in these lawsuits, does that not change his public perception? I mean, people are always going to see him as some type of freak, cooked out, dude, but will they see him as much of a predator? I don't know. In 2 years, if you get a couple of these sex tapes leaked and it looks like the person, all parties involved are doing this willingly, I think it'll completely shift public perception of him, the negative public perception he has, to just being a freaked off gay dude, pretty much. But hey, that's besides the point. Another, speaking about a gender war, I want to show this right here. This is a Professor Tressie McMillan Cottom. He had this to say about Black women in childbirth. Let me play this. Craig said, I don't think most of these people are victims. Some are, but I don't believe most aren't. Yeah, I agree. I think there's some people, obviously the women that he put hands on were absolutely victims of abuse. But when it comes to the other stuff, am I 100% positive there wasn't some women that he drugged? Or something? I'm sure that might have happened. It's definitely plausible, but I think a lot of that stuff he was accused of was some people trying to get money grabs and others trying to get ahead of something and get some money on the way out. But it is what it is. But this is a professor speaking on Black women and childbirth. Let me play this.
I've been a Black woman for going on almost 50 years now and been able to reproduce for almost 40 of those years. And despite having a great amount of upward social mobility in my life, both is ranked by educational attainment and economic attainment. I have never, ever had anyone encourage me to have children. And as long as that is the case, that our concern about birth rates is a conversation only being had with white women or women with proximity to whiteness, in the case of some ethnic minorities, I would say that anytime someone wants to have a conversation about pronatalism, they really want to have a conversation with you about white supremacy. No one is encouraging Black women to have more babies.
This is probably the craziest thing I've ever said. I mean, I've heard a person with this educational background say, I would say for the past couple decades, Black people have been talking about that number we heard. I don't even know what year this number became a thing, but I'm pretty sure y'all have heard the thing about them saying that Black women, or the Black community, I'll say, has had 50 million abortions since like 1970 or 80 or something. I can't remember. 50 million. Since that number came out, there's been a big talk about birth rate and Black people need to have more children and get our numbers up. Every time people hear that we're 12, 13, 14% of the population, even though we've been here for hundreds of years, people talk about these numbers. Now, this woman also said this. Shout out to Touré again. He posted this from her social media. She said, you just got to know, really know, that Black men categorically hate Black women. See also misogyny writ large, etc. Now, this woman is now married to a Caucasian man. According to her, she said she's never been told to have children. I don't know if she has children or not. But she said out of her mouth, this is a professor saying that Black men hate Black women. This is a person who has reached in a high level of education, saying the same thing that a young woman said in the movie Is God Is, that writer, that play, he's saying the same thing. So in entertainment and in academia, they're walking lockstep saying the same things. And they're both dating the same way. It's completely pacification. It's everywhere. At this point, it's a machine that's running itself. Like, people see these type of posts and make jokes about the CIA. That's over with. They don't need to ever do anything to plant anything into your community as far as a thought. It's all just running by itself at this point. But I saw this right here. Is this the same thing? Okay, yeah. This was a post. It said, white supremacy comes in many forms, particularly in social culture, strangling in Black birthing, fear of a Black planet, overrun with Black fosters while women in men not to encourage the Black populace to have children. It is a kind of mental genocide. As the administration strategy strangle funding for Black families and future welfare states, white people won't encourage Black women to procreate more Black babies out of fear, loss of control, and cultural management. He said, met her back in 2019. This is the woman, the professor. Met her back in 2019 in Richmond, Virginia. The book you are looking for is thick, and the other essays by Tressie McMillan, Cottom, published in 2019. It is an insightful collection of essays that explores the realities and complexities of being a Black woman in America today. And it's so funny that this became a thing. I don't know when she originally said this. I know that it was originally posted on Instagram. But just 2 weeks ago, I played a clip of a Fox News host telling Black people to have more children. It's about timing. Hold on. Let me make sure this loads up. Hold on. Hold on. So while they're saying that white people never encourage it, which historically they have not, 100% have never encouraged Black people to have children. That is a fact. But in 2026, white people are actually saying that. Let me just tune this up. Hold on. I played this 2 weeks ago. I'm gonna play this again.
If you were wondering where.
Hold on.
Canada. If you were wondering where I'm talking about, they're doing a little bit of a secessionist vote. I did some research on the blacks, as Judge
the blacks.
Janine so eloquently would say. The solution to Hakeem's problem, this gay Obama, is baby making. Blacks, for 150 years, have only represented 10 to 15% of the American population. Okay? That's not that much. So if they want to have more seats, they got to get in between the sheets. The Spanish, they're coming north, they're having tons of kids, and at this point, they have almost the same amount of House seats as blacks. The Hispanic caucus is almost as big as the Black caucus. So if you guys need to solve that problem,
I'm not arguing for
you know what you need to do.
I'm not arguing for more black congressmen. I'm arguing just don't draw the districts to advantage a part.
No, you're just discriminating against whites. That was an all-black district.
I'm discriminating.
We want to be in that district.
You think I'm discriminating against my kids?
We don't support
Am I
segregation.
discriminating against my kids?
No, it's not a blacks only. It's whites only. We have a, very diverse district.
So white men type people to have kids. But yeah, man, it's unfortunate. This discourse is so prominent. Every platform, where, like I said, academic, entertainment, whether it's podcasts, people doing YouTube video essays, all across TikTok, every platform you could think of, it's just such a extreme divide when it comes to this gender war thing. And unfortunately, I don't see it going anywhere anytime soon, because as Craig said, it's actually making money. Not only is it doing what those who wanted to have a negative influence, not only is it doing what they wanted to do, the people doing it are actually gaining financially. So why wouldn't they continue to do it? They have no desire to procreate with, whether it's men or women. The black men and black women who push this, they have no desire to procreate with black people, so who cares? And they get the profit from it. It's a win-win for them. It's unfortunate. What else we got? Oh Lord. This right here. Hold on. All right. Oh God. Touré reveals what really happened with Cheyenne Bryant. All right, man. Enough with the Cheyenne Bryant. We get it. She lied. She got exposed as a liar. She's been called out multiple times on different platforms to her face. She lied. We get it. Y'all, at this point, I'm not coming to her defense or nothing. But I'm not saying people are just dragging it along. But at this point, it's clearly not about her being a liar. I'm going to say it again. I am surprised that some of her biggest critique, the people who critique her the most, are probably black women. And I'm wondering, because I didn't watch all her interviews. I don't know all her content. What did she say that made them put the green light on her? Because the online black sisterhood don't just go in on a black woman who's pushing some message that they may agree with. Because the only time I've seen her on a platform was with Nick Cannon, Cam Newton, when she was calling them out for making broken homes, which, hey, she kind of got the best of them in both of those interviews. Now, I did see her also get kind of flummoxed, got a little flustered against Paul Pierce. But at this point, okay, she lied. She's not a doctor. You don't have to call her doctor. You can move on now, because as long as she do this right here, hold on. As long as she do this right here,
I'm pretty and I'm petty as fuck. I'm pretty and I'm petty.
As long as she come out and dress in a nice bikini and show how good she look, it ain't gonna change nothing. She's not gonna lose, y'all. She's not losing. But anyway, so the next thing now that has turned into a discussion, I think this is like a week and a half ago. Actually, no, it's a couple of days ago, actually, it became a bigger story. I guess I saw it a week and a half ago. Touré has now stepped in to speak about Cheyenne Bryant in a confrontation they had a year ago on their show, on his show, I guess. They had some confrontation that was edited out. Both of them apparently wanted it to come out, but they decided not to do it. A year later, they released the edited clip out, and there's more piling on at this point. Let me play a little bit of it.
But internally, what they do carry at the nucleus of who they are is discipline and boundaries.
If gentle parenting creates gentle children, sign me up. I definitely want to create more gentle adults, especially men. Hold on, everybody, especially men.
You are
My
a gentle,
God, are
you are
you
a
kidding?
very.
Hold on, guys. Hold on, guys. That's what we need in the world, is more gentle men who understand.
Ray, you're very gentle, and it comes at an angle that doesn't always work for people.
Let's just stop.
She clearly wanted to call that man gay. It's kind of obvious. What up, Keeper? Call that man soft and gentle. You clearly wanted to call that man a homosexual.
Let's just stop and go back.
Is this who you want to get your life coaching from?
Because I'm wrapping the show and you're interrupting me.
First of all,
this is what we spent a whole meeting on this.
And this is the part, if I'm not mistaken, that was edited out originally.
First of all, Touré, first of
wrapping
all,
the show.
Touré.
Why don't you let me wrap the show? I'm ending the show.
First of
What
all,
is the point of interrupting
Touré,
me?
first of all,
We're getting out of here.
Touré,
Like, what is the point?
Touré,
What is the point? It says go to host
fucking
wrap-up.
voice when
And
you're
even
talking
still,
to me.
you're arguing
Lower
with
your
me.
fucking voice when you're talking to
what
me.
fuck?
Because you're
Like, can you
acting very,
finish
very
the show?
gentle,
We're
very
ending the
soft, and
show.
very feminine. And this
You acting gentle, soft, and feminine. He is very sassy. Yeah, he is. I can't lie. But we know in this situation, in the conversation they were having, where she was basically saying that he was too gentle. He was saying, well, being a gentle parent, making gentle kids can make gentle adults. And in his opinion, we can use more gentle adults. She pretty much turned it into, nigga, you gay.
is the problem. Touré, you talk to your wife like that. You don't talk to me like that. I am not your wife. You don't talk to me like that. I'm not your wife, gentle. I'm not your wife, softy. Don't talk to me like
Softy? All right. Okay. Oh, man. Now, in this, obviously, people came to the conclusion that her speaking like this proves she's not a doctor. There's no way. I'm like, well, no. People definitely are human. So no matter what level of education or what their background is, some people can just they can react to certain ways at different times. That don't mean she ain't who she says she is. We know she isn't, but this wouldn't be the only reason why you would believe it's impossible.
you talk to your wife like that, not me. Touré, talk to your wife like that. Do not talk to me like that.
Now, this is a woman who, if I'm not mistaken, she's from Cali, I think Oakland, if I'm not mistaken, I might be wrong. They've now found that she was once a video vixen. Okay. Then the degree she allegedly had came from an uncredited college that doesn't exist no more. Then they say she never really had a doctorate at all. She lied. It was honorary. Like, look, we know it's a fraud. I don't watch her content. The only thing I know about her, like I said, is Cam Newton interview, and Nick Cannon, which he called them pretty much deadbeats that was making broken homes, went viral. The women were laughing at them. People was laughing at them for getting cooked by her. Then I saw her get it kind of, got jumped on by Paul Pierce. He kind of exposed her a little bit. People went on about their life. Like, it's over. Now, at this point, if you continue to look at her content, it had nothing to do with her being a doctor or not. You just want to hear from her, it is what it is. It's all entertainment, which is what I thought she was. I never thought she was an actual doctor. I thought it was just entertainment. As I said, as long as she looked like this and posts this, she won't lose. She has an audience. She already here. She's already well known. She wants headlines. She's going to get them. There's no losing, people. I am going to listen to a little bit of this, of his breakdown of the situation.
If two people are talking at once, the audience can't hear either of them, and it's terrible TV. We've talked about this 100 times, but she won't stop.
Hold on, guys.
For a second time, I'm telling her again, hold on, please stop talking. I'm the host, and I'm not relenting. That means you must stop talking. Let me do my job. I've got to be able to do my job as far as shaping the conversation for maximum impact and holding us on time. When you interrupt me, you're making it impossible for me to do my job.
Hold on, guys. That's what we need in the world is more gentle men who understand.
You're very gentle, and it comes
But even though she has nothing to say, she is dying to interrupt me.
Hold on, guys. That's what we need.
She's attacking me now. You're very gentle. She intends it to seem emasculating. She's basically saying, you're gay. I can hear her talking a lot while I'm talking. And by now I know we've talked at the same time for a while. This is bad TV. She's like a barrier preventing me from doing my job. And because we had talked about that specific issue all season long, I got upset.
Let's just stop and go back. Because I'm wrapping the show and you're interrupting me.
He was saying, isn't he gay? As far as I know, he's married. He's married to a Caucasian woman, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, he's married. It's not. That don't really mean nothing in 2026. I guess we've realized in history that being married means nothing. These people are doing all type of stuff. Keep said she's a fake, but isn't he gay? Not that he hasn't said he is, at least. He has not said or confirmed that he is married to a woman. Keep said beard.
First of all, we spent a whole meeting on this.
We spent a whole meeting on this.
It's hard. I'm sorry. I've known about Touré for years. Obviously, he was around a lot of hip hop journalism things going on back in the day. I can't take him serious as a person at all on really anything now after he made those comments defending those white people, calling that black ICE agent a nigga. Saying that because it's in political reasoning, they're allowed to call him a nigga. I'm sorry. They were allowed to call him a house nigga because technically they're right. He's working with the system against the public. He's a house nigga. It's like, bruh, I can't take you serious no more. Chris said he is married to a Caucasian woman. Makes a lot of sense now. You know, every time I see certain black women make these kind of comments where they say how maybe they saying it in jest, but I think it's funny. They was like, any black man you see with a white woman, they gay. And every time I've seen, now once again, I'm not saying this is true. You don't know these people's background. But every time they accuse some athlete or actor of being with the pink toes or being with snow bunnies, the gay allegations come right behind it. It's kind of crazy.
Because we had spent a whole meeting with the producer to explain again this one issue. Don't interrupt him when he's wrapping the show.
All right, so I don't gotta watch this whole thing. You get the point. She was interrupting him. He's trying to wrap up the show. She clearly wanted to get something off her chest. Apparently, they had some type of slight back and forth, or he said something that offended her a week or two prior on the show. So she clearly wanted to get back at him. So him even telling her, him raising his voice, telling her to shut up, was never gonna fly. So the second he gave her the opportunity, she started calling him all type of soft and gentle. Called a grown man a softie. That's kind of, come on, man. You're a grown man. She called you a softie, bro. It's crazy. So yeah, only reason why I'm talking about this is because I'm gonna say it again. When Kevin Samuels was alive, and he had a lot of controversial takes, a lot of people split down the middle. He had a lot of haters. He had a lot of supporters. It was very black and white with him. And I seen so many women after he died try to fill that void and do the same damn thing as him. I've seen women do little dating shows where they ask women their dress size, their weight, their height. The same thing he got criticized for. I've seen women go on media book tours and use the same talking points. I'm not saying he invented them. I'm saying that they're using the same points and they're getting the same large platforms, but the people who hated him like her and vice versa. The people who love Kevin Samuels hate her, some of them. So it's just, everything is a cycle and it's all entertainment at the end of the day, man. Let me try to jump forward. I've been on this segment a long time. Let me get into a little politics now. Hold on. I'm gonna run through this. All right. I found this kind of interesting. Netflix to launch its first daily live show with the Breakfast Club. I'm gonna ask one question because I don't care about this. I know they got the radio show on Netflix now. I haven't watched it on there. I'm not interested. But I saw this headline. I got one question. I don't know if Netflix has already done it, but is this possibly the way Netflix attempts to get into politics discussion? Because I think it's not a surprise that Charlemagne, I don't know if I know another person with a platform that has been given so many different TV show opportunities. He's had like 7 shows on TV at this point. Now he's getting another live show on Netflix. And every single one of them have been political. Now, obviously, this just means the Breakfast Club is going to be going live as the Breakfast Club, obviously. But I do know that Breakfast Club, they've been trying for years now to make Breakfast Club the center of black politics. So with Netflix being a part of this, and we know that Obama's The Obamas have some connections with Netflix, obviously, with her family, being a part of it. This just seems like another way for Netflix to get their foot in another part of entertainment. Now it's time to get into the politics of things. This is going to be interesting to see. And speaking of politics, shout out to Representative Carla Cunningham. Now this is old, but she ended up losing her position because she came into politics and said that she don't give a damn about no immigrants, that she's focused on actual Americans, and she ended up having to leave her entire party and go independent. But standing on black business. So shut her. Because if we're going to have people like Charlamagne and stuff attempting to be the voice, it's dire. I'm being honest. Next up. Let's get to this. Hold on, y'all. All right. Let's get to this now. Now look at this. NAACP calls on black athletes and fans to withhold support of public schools and states attacking black voting rights. It's the NAACP. Now you notice in this article, they kind of focus on the black athletes. You know who they're talking about. They're talking about the black male athlete, football, basketball players. Use your influence and leverage to not go to certain states that are quote unquote stripping us. Shout out to her, Cunningham. Stripping us of our voting rights, as they say. You know, we back to Jim Crow, they told us. They told us the South is now back to being Jim Crow. We have no rights. That's what they're telling us. Even though this whole thing about the voting rights is really about them losing seats. They're about to lose some seats, some power. I'm pretty sure that means, obviously, we're going to see the Congressional Black Caucus lose influence because the Hispanics are gaining more. Their population is growing consistently in places that used to be black areas. Obviously, we know for the last 2 decades, 3 decades even, California has completely turned into a majority Hispanic state. Texas has a lot of Hispanics. Georgia has a growing Hispanic population. North Carolina, I didn't know that a good chunk of Charlotte, North Carolina now is Hispanic, is Mexican. So they're gaining influence in all the certain places that would be considered black footholds, and it is what it is. Quick point out, even though they talked about this focusing more on black athletes, you notice the picture they used of the people protesting is all young women. You notice that? Even in this conversation where they're talking to black males, they're still using the image of young black women. But anyway, don't got to read this. We get the point. The NAACP today launched the Out of Bounds campaign, a national call for black athletes, families, fans, alumni, and consumers to withhold athletic and financial support for public universities and states that have moved to limit, weaken, or erase black voting representation in the wake of Supreme Court 6-3 ruling in Louisiana versus Callis, which gutted what was left of the Voting Rights Act. NAACP identified 8 priority states: Tennessee, Louisiana, Alabama, Florida, Mississippi, South Carolina, Texas, and Georgia, and targeted flagship public athletic programs generating more than $100 million in annual revenue that continue to recruit black athletes while their state governments dismantle the political power of black communities. This is about them keeping their seats. We know that. Also, in a lot of the discussion on the Republican side, when they spoke about them being accused of gerrymandering and trying to take over black districts, I guess, some of these places, that ain't quite what happened. Now, if I'm not mistaken, Alabama in particular, what was on the books was already there. It was the Democratic side that tried to gerrymander and try to flip some districts. And when they tried to go do that, it got stopped. And what was already there was enforced, pretty much. So it actually backfired on them trying to do the thing they're accusing the other side of doing. I'm not saying I'm not saying that there aren't clearly some places in the country where they want to try and influence the black vote, keep it as low as possible, put black people in a district where they are the minority and their vote means less than the other white people. I know that happens. But both sides do this. When you look at certain states or certain places that are considered metropolitan areas that are black areas, they purposely draw the district right around the black people, which is typically high in the cities, high population, which is always going to have more influence in a rural area with, a couple thousand people versus a place with a couple 100,000. When you're talking about these districts. So both sides do it. They just simply aren't going to be able to do it as easily, and now they think they're going to lose a whole bunch of seats. It's all about power. And it's funny, just a few months ago, y'all didn't know what a black job was. I've heard people point this out too. I'm glad people are pointing it out. Y'all didn't know what a black job was a few months ago. It didn't exist. That was racist, y'all said. Now that these people who are called themselves black politicians, they're supposed to be doing stuff for black people, but they don't. They focus more on immigrants and damn Mexicans. Now them losing their seats is taking away black jobs, though. Okay. Craig said, I want these young men to sacrifice their future so that they can keep their political positions. Where's the shame? Shameful. Completely shameful. Like, I remember, like, it'd be different if you put together funds and invested in creating these pots of money, let's just be blunt, to give these, if you want these athletes to not go to school in Alabama, you don't want them to go to LSU in Louisiana, you don't want them to go to Tennessee, you don't want them to go to Florida State, you don't want them to go to Mississippi State, you don't want them to go to South Carolina, Texas, and Georgia. If you don't want them to go to these schools, these 5-star, 4-star, 3-star athletes, and you want them to choose other states or really want them to choose HBCUs, how about you make sure that money they would get at those other schools go to them, and they get more funding at the schools that you want them to go to so that they can actually be a viable option. Like, I remember when Deion Sanders was at JSU, Jackson State, and they was getting all the support, and everybody was talking about HBCUs and all this other stuff. And then it turns out, allegedly, according to him, they was kind of cheating him out of some money he's supposed to be getting. He leaves, and he goes to the other college, the white college. Now none of y'all talk about HBCU football no more. You shouldn't need Deion Sanders to be there to support it, to put funding into it. Hell, when he was there, y'all wasn't even putting funding into it. So if you want these athletes to sacrifice their future, how about don't even make them sacrifice? Give them what they were already going to get at another. You got NIL deals now. You can get them the money. You can help these schools instead of taking this money and make sure you get your money off the top and filling your own pockets. How about you take that money and actually invest it into these systems so that these dudes can actually benefit and go to other colleges? But until you do that, shut the hell up. Let me play this here.
In this moment when black representation is under attack, it is important for the CBC to keep in their tradition of being the moral of the Congress, but the moral of conscience of this country. No representation, no revenue, no one black should be on a playing field of institutions that's living off of our labor, and yet in states that are seeking to reinstitute a sharecropping reality.
Call them sharecroppers.
It is not the responsibility of black America to hold individuals who should know better accountable for doing better.
If I'm not mistaken, they did the same thing a few years ago. This ain't even the first time they've done this, where they've asked. I don't think they did it for multiple states or nationwide last time. I want to say I think it was Florida. Yes. Yeah, it was Florida. It was when DeSantis was threatening to take certain curricula out of school that was dealt with black people. Although DeSantis said the reason why he was taking it out was it had nothing to do with black history. It was black history tied to LGBTQ stuff that he wanted to take out of the system. But regardless if you believe it or not, when you go through the stuff they wanted to take out, some of it was just flat out black history. But, they is who they is. But they tried it before with Florida, telling black athletes not to go to Florida and to, walk out or whatever, not go there. Now they're trying to do it for multiple other states.
As soon as...
And I think Texas, too.
The United States Congress stand united to ensure our Constitution represent all of us, we will be a better nation as a result. NAACP this morning, in solidarity with the CBC, we are calling on athletes who are coming out of high school not to attend any state-funded schools of states that have moved to minimize our right to vote, to minimize our ability to elect candidates of our choice, and states that are seeking to create a sharecropping reality.
Now, another thing that's crazy is the NAACP, they will tell you, some of his leadership will tell you that the NAACP is not a black organization, that it is for people of color. It is for minorities. I read this before. I think I read the NAACP Arizona mission statement. It was like, no, we're not a black organization for all people of color. but you're not asking all people of color to not go to these institutions. Why you ain't talking to the Mexicans? They go to HBCUs too. They go to these same colleges as athletes, and they the same alumni that go to these schools. Why you not talking to, why didn't you focus in particular and tell immigrants that come to America that benefit from scholarships that Black Americans could get? Why you ain't telling them too? You should be telling all quote unquote people of color to not go to these schools and these state funded schools in these states. You're not talking to everybody though. You're only talking to Black athletes.
Whether that state be Missouri or Mississippi, whether that state is South Carolina, Georgia, Alabama, Louisiana, Texas, or Florida. 55% of all African Americans live in the former Confederate South. But the 55% of us who live in the former Confederate South, we will not tolerate a Confederate mentality on our labor, on our ability to contribute, and our ability to be to have representation. In this moment, our democracy is in crisis. This is not about partisanship. This is about true representation. And for the NAACP, we will fight with all we have in solidarity with the Congressional Black Caucus to ensure that we have representation, or if we don't, we will withhold the talent that play on the football field or on the basketball court, be them men or female, in this moment.
Nah. Also, I want to show this right here. Speaking of them drawing districts. Democrat Debbie Wasserman Schultz runs for majority Black district seat in Florida. Now, I saw a clip of her speaking about this. This is the woman who was part of DNC, obviously. Debbie Wasserman Schultz announced Friday that she will leave her current congressional district and seek election instead in a heavily Democrat seat in Broward County that has long been viewed as a center of Black political representation in South Florida. So they redid the districts. Her district isn't as blue as it once was. So she's going somewhere else she thinks she can win. If I'm not mistaken, her district before was, I think she said it was 40% Hispanic and 20% Black. And now the new district she's in is the reverse. It's 40% Black and 20-something% Hispanic. This is a Jewish woman. This is the same woman, by the way. Remember a few years ago when that tower or that apartment building in Florida, I can't remember if it just fell down or burned up or something. I can't remember. And she came out and said she's going to make sure that it was a Jewish building. At least that's what it was considered. And she said she's going to make sure that the people who are part of that building receive reparations. And there's a lot of people running around saying, wait, all these other tragedies happen across the state and you ain't say nothing about help make sure those people get the funds they deserve. But, make sure she protect their own, I guess. This news comes after Florida Republicans approve of new congressional map that significantly reshape Wasserman Schultz's existing district, creating a far more competitive environment for Democrats. So instead of her just stepping down and allowing another Black person to run in this district that already is Black, she's not going to run against them because she want to keep her power. You know what you could have done? You could have tried to swing some of those red votes in your county, in your district. You could have tried to swing some of those votes in your favor and just fought to keep your district. Instead, you went to a district that you think would be easier. It's coward. Rather than seek re-election in newly configured districts, the longtime congressional opted to run in Florida's 20th congressional district, a safer Democrat stronghold. And really different from what we saw with Clyburn. He made deals years prior to make sure he kept his power. He didn't give a damn. Speaking of this too, not giving a damn. Another one of these situations that nobody believes it is come and go at this point, don't it? Who is Nasire Best, alleged White House shooter killed by a Secret Service, was a high school grad. Now, a shooting happened. White House, people saw the reporters reacting live to it. One of the reporters looked like she had no self-awareness, no survival skills whatsoever. She heard shooting and just kind of looked around. The agent made sure she got down and, to survive. But so this young man, Black, is the alleged shooter. You see here, a man, Secret Service officer shot and killed Saturday near the White House was a Baltimore County resident who struggled with mental health and had shut out his closest to him in recent months. according to friends and court records. Now, apparently when he was in high school, he had a high school friend he was cool with who ended up working with him at Amazon. They were close. They were good friends. And then at some point, he started to kind of push away their friendship. He started talking about how he's Jesus, he's a God, how he knows things that nobody else knows. And then he completely cut everyone off. He started beefing with his parents, if I'm not mistaken. Completely detached himself. The friend pretty much accused him as him being radicalized by something online. I don't know. And then obviously he goes to the White House. Apparently he went to the White House multiple times over months, asking the guards how do he get in and such, driving around there and all that stuff. And then he ended up just running in there, pulled a gun, and was fired at by the security at the checkpoint where he was killed. I don't know if it's me and just what I'm reading online and the places I'm subscribed to and where I read articles from. This story isn't really bubbling as much. It kind of came and went. I think a lot of it is because I don't know if people taking it serious that allegedly the president of the United States has had multiple, at least 5 shootings near him in the last 2 years. He's had like 5 shootings near him. At least 2 of them were directly at him, and 2 of them were an attempt to get near him. I don't, like I said before when we talked about the last one that happened, when the dude tried to get into the ballroom, I don't know if this is them programming you to be prepared for what they do in the future to the next person, or if they preparing for them to actually do it with this person. Like I said, I don't know if it's hard to believe anything that's happening right now. Everything is fake. Everything is a false flag. We've been so much information is being thrown out all the time that people are completely just overwhelmed with so much stuff going on. That stuff that happened a couple of days ago feel like it happened a month ago, and you don't believe nothing. It's crazy. Count Craig said, "What's up with all these assassination attempts?" Exactly. At least 2 of them were what you'd be considered a little bit more professional. The other 2 were just some crazy, quote unquote, crazy people that just try to run up on the damn president and try to just pull a gun out on him. It also could be said that one side could be doing this, sending some Manchurian candidates, if you will, try and paint the left wing side, their rhetoric, as dangerous because it's leading to shootings. We saw it with Charlie Kirk's wife, how she came out with a Drewski skit and with the words used by the late night host when he was talking about Trump looks like he's casket, look like she's dressed like he said Trump's wife he carries herself like a widow. They're saying that language is dangerous and is leading to violence. And then you have stuff like this happen. So I don't know. I ain't gonna lie. It's just so much happening. You just go, I don't know. You can't really give real opinions on it because when you do any type of deep dive into these people, it seems very shallow. Like this dude is just, according to them, he's just some dude, graduated high school, started working at Amazon and just went crazy. He just started talking about how he's a God and he's Jesus and he knows stuff that nobody knows. Next thing you know, he's driving outside of the White House and he ends up getting shot on the lawn. It's crazy. You can't really make much of it. It's crazy. And the reason why nobody believes nothing is this right here. Now, I wanted to make sure this was real and not edited. So I went to the actual Fox News site, the actual interview. I'm going to show this. You tell me what you think. Some people say it's a shadow. Some people say this man is wearing a mask.
Robert Harwood, former CENTCOM deputy
you can
commander.
See it clearly. You see right here the lower part of his neck. It looks like this man is wearing one of those realistic masks you see people wearing when they commit robberies and stuff.
Huge amount of patience here since the ceasefire on April the 8th.
Has a vote in this as well. They've reconfigured a number of
Does
things.
this look like a mask on him?
What do you think the next best move is today?
Well, I agree with the general completely, with one caveat. Patience may be a little short of the real objective here. The president has time.
Like that is clearly a mask he has on. That is crazy.
The strike capabilities, and he knows that the policy he set with the block.
We don't really care what he's saying. Oh, hold on. Oh, my bad. Froze a little bit. He said, what the fuck? Yeah, that definitely looks like this man is wearing a mask. About what he's saying. We know he's there to push propaganda. If I'm not mistaken, he has some tiny hat ties. We're gonna get into that. That is clearly a mask this man is wearing. Very obvious. Like, what are we doing? Which is not surprising, because if you ever watched the news and then did any type of research on some of the people they bring up, a lot of the people you see on Fox News, CNN, NBC News, when they talk about anything international, hell, even something domestic that's political, a lot of them be CIA agents here to push a narrative. A lot of them be former high-level military members, whether it be something psychological or some type of warfare like that. A lot of these people be intelligence agents who come on there to push propaganda. So telling me that a spy is on TV wearing a mask and got caught it ain't that surprising. And once again, this is something that was live on TV, and it's not a story anywhere. I saw it a few places on X. Some right-wing people was pointing it out, because they're the ones that really pay attention to stuff like this. And it's kind of just stopped there. It's like no one cares that a spy was on TV talking about a war. Like, no one cares. All right. Let me play this here. That's why nobody believes anything.
The Justice Department has this new fund that was announced today, $1.7 billion.
Yeah.
Why should taxpayers pay for the January 6th?
Well, it's been very well received, I have to tell you. I know very little about it. I wasn't involved in the whole creation of it and the negotiation. But this is reimbursing people that were horribly treated. It's anti-weaponization. They've been weaponized. They've been, in some cases, imprisoned wrongly. They paid legal fees that they didn't have. They've gone bankrupt. Their lives have been destroyed. And they turned out to be right. I mean, it was a terrible period of time in the history of our country. And they worked on it. I know the Justice Department, it's really been working on it very hard. There's been numerous other occasions over the years where things like this have been done. But these were people that were weaponized and really treated brutally by a system that was so corrupt, with corrupt people running it. And they're getting reimbursed for their legal fees and the other things that they had to suffer. Yeah.
So the January 6th people are getting reparations. They're getting paid their legal fees and any other damages they receive. What was funny is the person who, if I'm not mistaken, the person who got one of the longest sentences in the January 6th thing was a black dude who got sentenced like 10 years in prison, which was longer than anybody else. So now they're giving reparations. I think it's I forgot how much the number they said was. They're giving them reparations for January 6th. Now, like I said, we talked about it back then. Yes, some of those people were informants who purposely stoked the fire to create some type of riot to get those people to go in the building. We now know a lot of those people were 100% FBI, or at least, like I said earlier, were snitches, basically. The Cuban dude that led the Proud Boys, I think, he was an informant. It was connected to the Gretchen Whitmer case, where she was the attempted kidnapping was led by intelligence members, and they tried to convince these dudes to do it, and they didn't. So then it just kind of folded and had to just get up out of there. Chris, let's see what he gets. Yeah, we'll see what that black dude get who got 10. Did he get released? Has he been released? Has they done any type of, has Trump mentioned him at all? Will he get any type of money for what happened? Will he be considered not guilty of a crime now, or? Hey, man. Sick versus the flu. CIA explored 23andMe ancestry for alien DNA links. Whistleblower. I'm only showing this headline to ask the question, what alien are they looking for? Years ago, when this 23andMe really blew up, you had everybody getting online showing their results. I said then, me and Travis both said, and as many others did, that they're pushing this so hard. You had talk shows all across the country, reality shows pushing this. And I say the reason why they're doing this is because they're looking for someone, not a singular person. But to me, they were doing this because they were looking for a particular people trying to find out where they are. When you take a DNA test and it tells you that you're this percentage African, you're this percentage Irish, you're this percentage East Asian or whatever, that ain't real. None of that is real. What they were looking for is people that had similar DNA to what they found in those grave sites in other countries. They were looking for particular people, and they definitely found them. They know exactly where they at, those aliens. So we're going to see what they plan on doing to them. Probably what they've been doing to them for the past 400 years, but it is what it is. Then I saw this, and I thought it was something else before I read it. So the White House government, the White House X page posted this to its platform talking about aliens. I thought this was kind of funny. It says, they walk among us. For 60 years, the U.S. government has kept a closely guarded secret. Aliens have been walking among us, living in our neighborhoods, and interacting with us on our daily lives. They shopped in the same stores, attended the same classes as our children, and lived seemingly normal human existence. With an exception, they do not belong here. Millions arrived under the cover of darkness, embedded themselves directly into our society. Countless presidents, congressmen, and senior officials knew exactly what was happening. Instead of protecting American citizens, they chose to cover it up and even accelerate the invasion. Until one man finally had the courage to tell the truth. Bold, unapologetic, unafraid. President Trump was the first to call out the real danger aliens pose to every American family, every community, and the future of our nation. The truth is no longer out there. It is right here, right now. And they show you have 3 million encounters. And they're talking about illegal immigrants, obviously. They show all the arrests around the country. In Texas, there's like 4,000 or 5,000 arrests in almost every damn cluster you see. Same with Florida. I did check out Washington. There's been like in my area, there's been like 400 arrests. People say it sounds ridiculous. Yeah, they're talking about illegal immigrants. And this is the point I'm talking about with how they have used media to just cause so much confusion, and people are damn near schizophrenic at this point. The literal FBI, I think a year ago now, released real documents, classified documents, talking about alien encounters. I want to say 3-4 years ago, the CIA, I think, released documents proving, according to them, people being able to transfer outside of their body. They went and tested Eastern religion and proved that you can definitely project out of your body. Said that you can 100%, talk to people in their dreams. They said you can 100% hypnotize people with air conditioning sounds. It's crazy. So you'll have the CIA or FBI release something like that and like really bring validity to some of that stuff. And then you'll have the White House release something like this as a joke. It's like, y'all been telling us aliens is real for the last 2 years, and now you're doing this as a joke. It's just, it's just crazy. Have you on your toes, I guess. Speaking of having people on their toes, let me show this here. Candace Owens is still fighting for her man. She's still out here trying to get truth and answers. After she seemed like she bowed out, but I guess she's back now. Let me play this.
In the state of Utah. Let me know how I can not help. If Erica is telling the truth, I cannot think of a life event that would have warranted a change in Charlie's will. There may have been one, but in the midst of Charlie telling people that $10 million was missing from his company, allegedly, in the midst of him establishing a Doge internal audit to locate this alleged $10 million, which was subsequently canceled in the wake of his death, that audit was canceled? Why? In the midst of him texting those closest to him and saying, they're going to kill me. Tomorrow, I think I am going to be killed. I am fully within my right to wonder if he realized that there were a few snakes in his garden. Who was going to benefit from his death? Did Charlie actually make the appointment alone? Actually, that's a possibility too, right? Were his communications being monitored? Did he try to carve out an appointment because he was fearful of some death event, as he expressed? And did he try to radically then shift, learning that he had suspected somebody was taking money, siphoning money out of Turning Point USA, that his life was not what he thought it was? He's asking, I want Candace back. Why? Why does he want Candace back? Because I told him not to trust any of those people. All of the people that the world now sees are the snakes that were in Charlie's garden. I saw them first. And I warned Charlie about those people. So what happened? Were they monitoring? I think they were. I believe, I know everyone had access to everything.
You know, regardless if she's sincere about this or not, maybe she is. This is really a money printer. Like I said, I don't know how recent this is. I'm bringing this up because there's as people always say, there's a whole other world out there. And most of our lives, Charlie Kirk he was a story for a month. And people have moved on with their lives and don't give a damn. But with her, she probably still gets millions of views. There are people on all type of forums and comment sections, whether it's Reddit, 4chan, all over social media, talking about this conspiracy like it's the most important thing to crack ever. They're still looking for a villain who killed somebody who they were told was going to save America, going to run for president, yada, yada, yada. And she, Candace Owens, no matter what, will have an audience for who knows how many more years, simply because of that. It's it's really like that two Americas thing. Like even with this one right here, it's the last thing I'll say on this part. People heard this quote from this guy. He crazy. Oh my God, who cares? People heard this quote from this guy, and I could say they definitely took this out of context, and they're just still searching for the villain that killed him.
I contacted Erica through a text and told her. I just told her, nobody's going to kill you. You're safe. You and the kids. No one's coming after you. They just wanted Charlie. And I was just trying to reassure her. Because
they're taking that point there. They just wanted Charlie to say that, oh, he knew that he was going to get killed. And it's like, no, I think there was a dude telling her that no one knows you. So they're not going to try to kill you. And that's all over that side of politics. Like I remember during the height of the Trump derangement syndrome thing, everything Trump did was a conspiracy. Like everything. Some of it was just black and white. Like it was just a decision made. Somebody made a deal. He's doing a deal. Somebody making money. It was simple. But there was just so many conspiracies about everything he did. And now you have it on the other side. Well, you had it on the other side, especially when Biden was in office. Even though some of that with the laptop stuff, that turned out to be actually real. That was actually real. Those people have found another medium to kind of fulfill that same whodunit fantasy. You know, now they're doing it with him. It's like, I think it was a dude who got shot because he said things that somebody didn't like, and yeah, that's kind of what happens. But anyway, who knows though? Maybe in 5 years we'll find out there was type of hit. All right, we should be back. Want to get to this right quick. White doctor sues black medical directory because white people can't stop minding black people's business. A lawsuit was filed on behalf of a white dermatologist, Travis Morrell, against Find a Black Doctor, a directory to help black people find black doctors. There's been a lot of these little lawsuits like this that's just meant to antagonize, to me, anything that is race-based, as they'll say. They use it as an excuse as they're being discriminated against. So apparently this dermatologist tried to put his name on a listing, on a directory to get patients. He was denied because obviously he's white. And that was obviously, he don't give a damn. He don't want to be in this directory. But it existing offends them. They're trying to break everything down. in this society because they're trying to gain the advantages they had in yesteryear. They still have one, but they want it fully. They want a full advantage they used to have because they feel they deserve it. It's destiny. This is the guy right here. Find people who claim to be experiencing unprecedented levels of black fatigue. White people, especially white conservatives, just can't seem to stay out of black people's business, especially when they feel excluded from it. Take, for example, the lawsuit filed by Do No Harm, which described itself as a legal filing as a nationwide grassroots 501c3 membership organization that consists of more than 30,000 healthcare professionals, students, patients, and policymakers on behalf of white dermatologist Travis Morrell, and his name is Travis Morrell, which is hilarious. But anyway, who was excluded from directory for black people searching for black doctors. The lawsuit was filed against Find a Black Doctor, an online directory founded by a black woman, Dr. Dina, a graduate of Harvard University and Yale School of Medicine and board-certified dermatologist, who probably thought it was harmless to establish a directory that would simply make it easier for black people to find doctors who look like them, share cultural likeness to them, and are less likely to contribute to the well-documented discrepancies in sufficient medical care that black people, especially black women, receive from non-black doctors. It's kind of been understood for the longest time. I've seen so many stories when this case came out. I saw a couple of black women give their testimonies showing that they nearly had near-death experiences because a white doctor just didn't believe them. They just flat out accused them of lying, ignored them and all this type of stuff. And then life is so much more easier and they would trust it more when they just went to a black doctor. I'm not saying it's always the case, but yeah. But this is all about getting back. This is all about reshaping things. They feel like we went too far woke, as they say, and they're trying to shift things back to where they think it used to be. This is actually them fulfilling the mission statement of make America great again. That's what this is all about. This is their way of completing that mission that they feel Trump ain't really doing. And Trump is going to give Iran $300 billion for all the stuff that happened with the alleged war that's been going on the last couple of weeks. They open up the Horn of Strait of Hormuz, and then they close it, and then they open it, and then they call a ceasefire, and then they back bombing, and then they call off the war, and then they call it back on. There's a lot going on. The U.S. Iran are close to that deal, yet lingering vagaries that remain. As the Cambodia talks have taken place through mediators, it remains unclear whether the Americans and the Iranians have been working on the same version of the deal. I doubt they have. That's normally how that goes. What else we got? Oh, hold on, before I get to this, let me see. I'm going to save that one. Yeah, I'm going to save that one. All right. Let me show this. Quick on this. This is an article that somebody turned into a X post, so I'd rather read it from here because the other one's in Hebrew. This is in English. You see here. It said, Israeli Settlement Council admits to systemic ritual sexual abuse of children following bombshell media investigation. The Gus Etzion Regional Council in the occupied West Bank has issued an unprecedented public admission acknowledging severe multi-participant ritualistic sexual abuse within the settler community, which involves the gang rape of children. The official statement marks a dramatic reversal for the settlement's leadership, which has spent several years systemically denying and dismissing allegations of sadistic abuse. This is crazy. So remember when we talked about the tunnels in New York a few years ago, and you saw people coming out who were Jewish, by the way, religious. They actually followed a religion and they called themselves Israeli Jewish. They came out and said that, yeah, they have a few ritualistic things going on down there, but it's nothing dangerous, no big deal. Now, this is in Israel, obviously, them saying that, yeah, to the kids, we are doing things ritualistically to these Palestinian children and other places, obviously. Now, in the comments, I bumped into this dude who posted this clip from a podcast where they spoke to an actual, as they called them, tunnel Jew. I guess I don't know if he's actually one of the people in the tunnel, but he's at least one of the people who is from the area and know what's going on. I'm going to play a little bit of this now.
So before we wrap up, I don't want to hold you over too long, there was one more viral image going around, and this is the one everyone's been talking about. Is this, Dirk just pulled up on screen, stained mattress that was pulled out of the tunnel being carried by members of the synagogue. So there's a lot of crazy conspiracy theories. I don't want to go down any tasteless rabbit holes. But David, if you could, explain why was there a mattress in the tunnels and what is this stain? A lot of folks are wondering, is this stain feces?
No, it's not feces.
What
The
is
stain
it?
is blood, and basically we did rituals. I said that before. There were some rituals that we do in the tunnels, and sometimes the rituals might involve someone who recently died, and we'll bring him down there, and we're trying to do a ritual to bring back the Messiah, which is a Schneerson, if you heard about him on the news. So he died many years ago, but we have rituals that we believe we can bring him back. And so
how do these rituals
Was that the main guy who was sort of instructing on the tunnels?
Well, that was a long time. He's like the head. He's the head rabbi, and he's the guy that we look for direction.
Right, and the news was saying that he is potentially not passed on.
Right, that's right. So we don't know that, so we try to do rituals to try
to bring him back.
Correct, exactly.
So can you explain the rituals and why does it involve a mattress?
I don't want to go into the details of the rituals, but basically we don't put the body on the floor, we put the body on the mattress, and sometimes we might make an incision somewhere on the body and a little bit of blood will come out. But I don't want to go into the details.
Yeah, that's fair.
Well, you mentioned when we talked on the phone that you brought a book with you.
Yes. Yes, this is the type of book I bought, and this is the type of book that describes different types of rituals and things of that nature.
So how does that?
So this man has got on here and basically talked about reanimation, or better word for it is necromancy. He just admitted that they may have been in those tunnels trying to commit black magic, necromancy. But when you talk about some of the other parts of that religion that exists, when you talk about Judaism and some of the stuff they're doing, especially the hardcore religious people over there, some of the stuff they're into is flat out witchcraft. Flat out. And these people are still taken serious as a country, very serious. These people are becoming religious leaders for people of other cultures. I always bring up the fact that people like LeBron have these Jewish priests as their spiritual leaders and guidance. We just saw Kanye have to go through a whole apology tour to him. And it's just like, when you pay attention to some of the stuff these people push and some of their beliefs and ideologies, they're fucking crazy. But when you got the money, nothing you do is crazy. If it works, I guess, if it works. 2 Live Crew's Uncle Luke is running for Congress and calling out Black Trump supporters. The trailblazer of Southern rap has moved from pushing cultural boundaries to buttons and demanding political accountability. Let me play what he had to say about his political run.
Why me? Because I understand this district. I understand the people in the district. I understand the kids on the park. I mean, I came up in the things that I've done throughout my career, working with kids in the park, working with business leaders, being a businessman myself. I'm totally different. I'm not a politician. She's playing political games with this district. I'm here to bring resources back to this district. When you look at the high costs of living, that is my job. My job, I'm not going to Washington to fight Donald Trump. I'm not going up there to have this shouting match with individuals. I am going to Washington to bring back resources back to this district for people who look like me, who I care about. I do not have to run in this race right here. I've created millionaires. Debbie has not created millionaires, whether it was through music, whether it was through entertainment, whether it was through sports. And this is what the good folks of Broward County is looking for me to bring in this district. I mean, I've built parks, you name it, okay. 24 million, 16 million here and there. She has not done that. Nobody in this race has done that. And the things that I am capable of doing for this district is far better than what she wants Hakeem Jeffries' job. The bottom line, let me just not even sugarcoat it. That is what she's doing. She wants his job, and if we lose this seat, that will create a pathway for Byron Donald to win
So that's his political speech about the support he wants for his race. That is former rapper Uncle Luke. Now, he also said this. So after this man spent years, and nobody paid too much attention to him, but he spent years talking crazy, disrespecting the ADOS FBA situation. Talking crazy. He was in Twitter spaces. He was going back and forth with people on all type of platforms, talking crazy, calling people all type of broke and all type of stuff. Now look what he's saying. Now, obviously, he's trying to play politics. That's what it's really about. But he had this to say. He said, when I'm elected to Congress, I'm pushing for reparations for foundational Black Americans, descendants of slaves in America. Reparation means justice, economic repair, land ownership, opportunities, and restoring wealth stolen for generations. It's time for accountability. Make sure you're on the right side of history. To see people, and this is why people who aren't skilled in politics, they don't understand why things don't work out for them. Same thing happened with Stacey Abrams. As great as she is at organizing, she don't understand why she can't convince people to vote for her. Same thing happened with Kamala Harris. She's able to get her name to mobilize people, get people to mobilize around her, but she can't convince people to actually vote for her. She's able to get people to pay attention to her, but she can't get people to actually vote, enough people to vote for her to win. That's what Uncle Luke is realizing. You're not a politician, bruh. You're not a politician. You deciding to go on this BS, I support FBA thing now that you're trying to run for a seat is crazy. People are going to bring up words you said. It's not even getting into the fact of your history. Nigga, you push debauchery. You oversexed every Black woman that was ever around you. Why the hell would people come to you? Why the hell would people come to you to be a leader of their community? Because you help people get into the rap business? Because you sponsored a few teenage kids in sports and it led to them becoming NFL players, becoming millionaires? Like, come on, bruh. That's not just leadership. That you helped your community. You helped some people. Good job. You're not fit for leadership. It's just crazy. Craig said, trying to get the Black support, huh? Oh, what up, Dre? Yeah, I came late as mud. That's like shit ridiculous. Yeah, man, it's just, once again, he's going to say what he got to say because he wants some support. He's not going to win the race. If he wins this race, what I said earlier about the political shift happening so extreme because of Trump winning in 2016, that now someone like Uncle Luke think he can even win on a local level. If he was to win this race, it would just be, I'll be shocked. I have no faith that it's going to happen. I don't think this is actually even taking that serious, but we'll see. We've seen some crazy stuff happen in the last couple of years, so we'll see. Now, this same man that's saying this now, this is what he was saying a year ago.
It is what it is. Trump won.
2 years ago.
Motherfuckers, 15 million motherfuckers stayed home who voted in the last election. So it is what it is. So I'm going to sit back with my popcorn and I'm going to watch this crazy motherfucker say what the fuck he want to say, do what he want to do. He got full immunity. He might go out just like he said before. He's going to shoot a motherfucker on Madison Avenue and not go to jail because he can't go to jail.
Fifth Avenue.
I'm looking forward to all these 12% of Black men who voted for this psycho motherfucker are sat home. I'm looking forward to them get their ass lynched by the police officers.
He said he's looking forward to them getting lynched.
I'm not going to fucking protest under no circumstance at all.
Think about that for a second. To the Black man that voted for Trump or didn't vote at all, he's waiting. He was waiting. This is like 2 years ago, if I'm not mistaken. This is after Trump won in 2024 or 2023, technically, but 2024 he became president. He's saying he's waiting to see you get lynched. He ain't protesting. You know who that also sounds like? The same people that won that election who called, what they start calling themselves? Was it 92%? I forgot the number they used. Who was saying how they quit in politics. Remember that? The Black woman who voted for Kamala Harris, who was pushing that 92% or whatever it was called, saying that they ain't supporting no movement. They done with everything. Then you had a whole bunch of women saying that they're going to be celibate. They're denying men sex and not having no kids. I wonder how long that lasted.
So I'm sitting my ass back with my popcorn, and the Department of Education, they're going to turn public schools into third world countries where the degenerates are now going to go to those schools, guys with 1.1 average, gang rapers and all that shit that's going to be in the public schools from now. So y'all better start getting your kids in charter schools and private schools right now, because that shit finna turn crazy, because the Department of Education is going to be over. So I'm looking forward to this shit. Everybody who voted for this fucking clown, y'all going to get what you asked for.
Now he's saying he supports FBA reparations. Hey, man, he's trying to get his vote, I guess. What else we got? I'm gonna speak on this last story and I'm gonna get out of here. I'm gonna save a lot of this for the next week, but I want to get this part right here. How long have I been live? Hold on. Yeah, I could do these last two actually. I think I'm gonna do these last two. Hold on. Yeah, I'm gonna do these last two stories I want to get to. Yeah. I'm gonna start with this. I don't know if y'all already saw this. Atlanta, man. Eleanor Ross is a U.S. judge reprimanded for sex in the chambers. Eleanor Ross is a federal district court judge who was subject to private reprimand for having sex with a police officer in a chamber in earshot of law clerks, according to a person familiar with the situation. Ross, of the Atlanta-based U.S. District Court of the Northern District of Georgia, was nominated by President Barack Obama. Oh, that made it sweet. They couldn't wait to jump on this story when they saw Barack Obama's name even near it. And confirmed by the Senate in 2014, she previously served as a state court judge, a federal prosecutor in the district, and a prosecutor in the Fulton County District Attorney's Office. Ross and other court representatives didn't return court requests for comment and sent Thursday through phone calls and chambers and via email. Now, what's funny is this was a story that popped up that was in it said judge caught having sex in chambers. That's what the headline was. And apparently, I don't know if this has been proven completely, AI was used to end up finding out who the woman was. Not only who the woman was, but who the man is that she was having intercourse with. So this is the woman, Miss Eleanor Ross, the judge. She was already privately reprimanded. I think she was told she had to write letters to her staff for what she did. And this is the man she apparently was having the affair with. Both people married to other people, obviously. So they were having this affair that apparently was lasting for 2 years. And when I saw this story, it immediately reminded me of all the other crazy stories we've heard about mayors and judges. I remember there was a story out of Texas a few years ago where the judge was having affairs and doing drugs with someone. I can't remember exactly who it was, but she had all these sexual escapades and doing all type of drug binges, cheating on her husband. And she was a judge in Texas. Then obviously you know the story that happened up in Illinois. Tiffany Henyard, who's now was trying to run for mayor in Atlanta recently. You got some crazy people in power, man. And this story is funny to me because even though these people are committing adultery, whatever, their partners will ask for divorce or not. And it's really kind of a private business thing. It is what it is. Yeah, they were doing some crazy shit to be in your chambers on the clock doing this is crazy. But the crazier part to me is the audacity. So not only are you having an affair, you're having an affair and pretty much in front of your staff. Like they know exactly what's happening. It's like, what are we doing? Do you expect them never to say anything? And apparently they call her rude. Said she was difficult to deal with. She wasn't the kindest person to them. So you're going to have an affair in your chambers during the workday. Your staff know exactly what's going on, who you're rude to, and you expect it to never get caught. This story is just, and apparently her husband is also a judge. That was shown to be a thing. And the woman, the the police officer's wife apparently is cool with Fonnie. Remember Fonnie, the DA? Let me get her whole name. Yeah, Fonnie Willis. So his wife, the cop's wife, is cool with Fonnie Willis apparently, and the judge's husband is also a judge in a different district. It's just crazy politics. Just a big freak off. I said the same thing with the in DC with the Republicans. It's crazy how so often these people are just freaked out people. When that dude in the wheelchair years ago, who was a Republican, came out and said, "Hey man, these Republicans, we want to drain the swamp." He was listening to Trump's words. We want to drain the swamp. All these people are just running around having orgies and stuff. The next time it was time to vote, he was out of the seat and you never heard from him again. I thought his name started with an M, not McIntyre. It was McGraw something. He was in a wheelchair. They found out that he was dressing up in drag, found pictures of him dressing like a woman and stuff, and then he exposed them for having orgies and stuff at their RNC parties and stuff. And then they put out that picture of him in drag, and he lost his seat, and we never heard from him again. It is what it is. Oh man, freaked off politicians, and of course it had to be Georgia, right? It just had to be Georgia. Anyway, let's move to this. I want to show this here. It's the last thing I'm gonna show. We're gonna get up out of here. Is it a thing that's being spoken about? Let me show this. Here we go. So there was a debate or argument that back and forth that led to conversations between the Asians and the black people. I remember on X a few weeks ago, maybe a few months ago now, they turned on this feature that automatically translated another language. So normally on your timeline, you only saw people who were at least speaking your language, right? So I'm American. I only saw people from America, Canada, and people that spoke English from other countries. I just didn't see other languages. They changed that to where you see other languages, but it automatically translates to your language. So you just thought, like 2 months ago, a month ago, whatever, it was just a flood of people from France, Brazil, Japan, China, Korea, that just flooded everybody's timeline, and you were just seeing all these people from other countries. But funny enough, somehow all these people ended up in arguments and back and forth with Black Americans. It was crazy. Past that, time goes on, and now we see the Koreans are saying a bunch of racist stuff about Black Americans. We've seen the Japanese saying a whole bunch of racist stuff about Black Americans and all this other stuff. So we're seeing more into the racism, obviously, that we're seeing from them, how no matter how much white people have done stuff to them, Japan got baloney dropped on them. He dropped nukes on them. And yet, most of their commentary online when it came to race relations, they always only spoke negative to Black people, which proves it. There's a reason why the whole world hates you. And it ain't because you did them wrong. I always say this again, it's an ancient hatred. They don't know why they hate you. They just know that it's in their DNA to hate you. It's in their soul, their DNA, their lineage. It's just in them to hate you. They don't even know why. Crazy says the BBC obsession is global. So we've been seeing how crazy they've been talking. As this person right here said, anti-blackness is just an American thing. This is in quotes, obviously. This is what these foreigners were saying to Black Americans. Anti-blackness is just an American thing. We don't do that over here. There's a popular toy in China right now of a black baby because they find it funny to abuse it. And this is what they're talking about.
Cute black baby squishy toy is super fun for stress relief. Perfect small gift. Tap the link below to get yours now.
So these Japanese people have this little toy, a stress relief toy that you can squish up and stuff. And it's in the form of a little black baby.
Natasha, アフリカベリーのスクイーズ人形。中国版 TikTok では洋服を着せたりメイクをしたり、まるで本物の赤ちゃんみたいに遊んでる動画が大量に出てきます。
And like everything that has to do with Black people, it goes from something innocent and it just go left and go violent.
これが流行った理由からの
Now they're throwing it on the ground, riding over it with cars, burning it. Look.
Meme on Chinese social media. So on Red Note and Diane, there is a trend of memes surrounding this stress toy people call Natasha. As part of this trend, people do obscene, cruel, and odd things to this doll, as you see in the video, and it's super popular and people call it hilarious.
So as you can see, they pretty much just use this toy to just abuse it and destroy it. Shout out to Love Jones, man. But there's other examples. As you can see, beating up on it. It's supposed to be a stress relief toy. Now, and looking this up, throwing it off a building, and looking this up, people start asking the question, damn, why they don't make it another race? Why don't they make it look Asian? Why do they make it look black? And the Asian in the comment section was pretty much saying, we like for it to look ugly, cute. A white one wouldn't work as well, apparently. These people racist as hell. Like, look at this, and this reminds me of when you see these people go to other places internationally, and these Asian people be wanting to touch them, and these Indians want to touch them, and they be letting them take pictures and touch them and stuff. It's like, you don't know what they're going to do with that picture. You don't know what they're saying when they post it on their form of social media, and you just taking pictures with them because you think you feel like a celebrity. But look at this. The name of the doll, by the way, is Natasha doll. It's a Natasha, little Natasha. Even the name, right? So this Asian woman took a picture with a clearly biracial child, probably somewhere, father's probably from somewhere in Africa, maybe, and the mother's probably Asian. So this right here says, who can even resist a real life little Natasha with drool? Can't believe I actually got to hug the real life little Natasha. She's just so adorable. She got her own makeup on, and I just couldn't resist getting a little cuddle in. This little Natasha doll that they abusing though. Look at it. They show this right here. They even showing them eat Natasha doll shaped candy. Black baby. Now this right here is nothing new. Once again, I brought this book up before, and there's plenty of others that exist when you talk about the delectable Negro. This obsession, as Craig brought up with the BBC obsession, there's also this obsession with this idea of blackness anyway. It's such an obsession. When people talk about how the whole world copy Black Americans, and whether it's our entertainment and our social and political movements, the whole world follow what we're doing here in America. It's an obsession so much so that it leads to almost a cannibalism that comes over them. Like they want to digest and they want to ingest and digest you and your entire image and what you is. But at the same time, you're ugly. You're an outcast. We don't want to be near you. It's just a strange dynamic that exists these other races and cultures have with Black Americans. But when you look at this right here, this person allowed their kid to take a picture with this woman and don't even know that she's probably some extreme racist. Even this right here. Now this woman here I think is African, but she's allowing her to touch her hair. Look at it. Like, why are you even allowing her to do that? There's another one. And this right here, and I've been seeing people use this word a lot more. We were using this long before, where there's this extreme low racial self-esteem that exists amongst Black people, particularly Black Americans, where some of us, when they go to other countries and they get attention, literally get attention because they Black, they think that that's praise, and they start to feel a certain level of celebrity, so they celebrate it. And you don't know, these people are not just touching your hair because they think it's just so pretty and, they like the texture of your hair and how you look. A lot of it is you're foreign. They don't see many Black people, so they just touching it to say, oh, this is what we saw on the TV screen. This is what they talk about in the media over there in America. It's not positive, but they run to it anyway. Where was it at? Hold on. It reminded me of a video I saw like a little while ago, where it was a black woman. She was walking around where she was showing a little body. She was a curvy black woman. And she was allowing these Asian women to touch her breasts, to touch her butt. Like, it was literally just touching all on her. And she was okay with it because in her mind, she's getting attention for being a shapely woman. And it's like, in their society and their cultural norms, they pretty much look at you in the way you're shaped and the way you dress as a whore. So it's like, and even I'm not saying they obviously have prostitution and all type of underground sex work in their countries, but a lot of the things aren't allowed to be public. Like, I remember when Ty Lawson, the former NBA player for the Denver Nuggets, he posted a picture of him in a strip club in China. He was like, these China girls thick. And they made him delete the post and they banned him from coming back to the country. They know strip clubs exist, but it's some type of speakeasy type thing where you don't tell people where it is. You just know where it is because you around the right people. We don't make this public and make this a normal thing. We're not going to allow you to go on social media and paint our women or the women of our country as sexualize them and make them out to be just a bunch of prostitutes. So a lot of this gets misconstrued with particularly Black Americans when they go to these other countries. It's a different culture. They're not looking at you the way you think they are. Let me show this here. The last bit I should have on this. Hold on. Yeah. This is a comment one of them left. They said, because the white one, they asked the question of why they don't make them white. Because the white one doesn't have the same ugly vibe as this one. The selling point of this one is that it's ugly, abstract, and interesting. The white one looks more human-like. So having brown skin or being black makes you less human, even though hue, man, is right there. But anyway, which makes people think of a baby and it feels more depressing. So a black baby isn't even a human. It's not looked at as a real baby. So it definitely won't sell as well as the black or brown ones. Babies aren't usually this color, so it feels more like a toy to play with. Plus, it looks uglier and more abstract. I admit the white, yellow, and black each have their own charm, but the beauty and handsomeness that are more widely accepted are mostly white and yellow, aren't they? The most handsome and beautiful people in a global list are mostly white, which is universal standard of beauty. And that's where that ass kissing exists. My God. I might go on rants and talk about black people and our, like I said, low racial self-esteem and stuff that we do, or we just show such a lack of pride. I don't think nobody's as bad as some of these Asian countries. My God. My God. Being in the belly of the beast here in America, unfortunately, the false beauty standard that has existed for decades has definitely harmed Black American psyche. We fought a lot of it off, but unfortunately, sometimes it rears its ugly head. Over there, the fact that they have no connection, they're not around these people very often, only through media consumption, and that it affects them more away, thousands of miles away, it affects them more than the people that's in the belly of the beast. It's like I keep saying, it's a spiritual battle. Because man, it could be real, it could be even worse here. I think that's it. That's all I'm gonna get to this week. That was just right here. This is not even really a story. I just thought it was crazy. Y'all remember Big Groove, the Nigerian dude that be dancing? I don't know if this is true or not, but they saying that an Asian dude tried to poison him. It's not funny because I ain't wishing death on the man. Although I don't like his content, I wouldn't wish death on him. But they said a dude tried to poison him.
Take the life of this popular TikTok food content creator, and you won't believe the reason why. Check this out. Los Angeles authorities arrested Kenji Takahashi, the owner of Kuruana Sushi, on Sunday following an alleged plot to poison the popular food content creator known as Big Groove. Police reports indicate that Takahashi invited the influencer to his establishment for a staged video featuring a 5-pound mega sushi roll. Investigators claim that Takahashi intended to conceal 3 lethal raw blowfish inside the dish in a calculated attempt to end the creator's life. The scheme unraveled after a member of the restaurant staff contacted law enforcement, providing investigators with text messages where Takahashi openly expressed his personal disdain for the creator. Prosecutors have filed formal charges, and Takahashi is currently facing counts of attempted first-degree murder, solicitation to commit murder, and conspiracy to commit a violent felony. Evidence presented at the initial hearing included digital transcripts where the chef wrote, "I just don't like him. He is too big to be dancing like that, and he is always smiling."
Now, this made me think this is probably fake because I couldn't find no article for this. And the exact reason he said he want to harm this man is the same thing black people complain about. So I don't know if it's real. I just thought, damn, you really want to kill that man because he danced too much? They try to get his big ass up out of here, but hopefully that's not true. Like I said, I looked up, couldn't find nothing on it. I only found this one little Instagram post. The whole thing looks like it was written by somebody who was trying to spread a joke. I don't know. I just think that's crazy. But anyway, that's all I'm going to get through this week. Hold on. Yeah, that's all I'm going to get through this week. I'm going to get up out of here. Hopefully y'all had a good time listening, to the people that was here, to the people that watched the replay. Shout out to y'all. Appreciate the support as always. Y'all be safe. All praise to the Most High. Peace, man.